So we have a lot to talk about. I wanted to save this for an individual video because I knew this was going to happen, and it's going to continue to happen, especially what we would call like the after effects of governments pushing certain things through, pushback. Because yeah, there's been a lot of petitions, there's been a lot of pushback from the UK, from Australia, from United States on the whole pushback against censorship, control, etc., etc. And what's kind of funny is now the labeling's coming out. So the first thing I want to go over is this. I just think this is kind of funny because it was the Liberal government that first started in Australia that started the whole e-commission. Like, I think it was. I'm pretty sure because they were the ones that were starting the idea of ID verification because, again, it's such a mess to know which government was it, but they're both pushing it. Like, one's opened the door and the other one's running with it. But basically, the coalition, or the Liberal government over here in Australia, now are saying, hey, we want to investigate this, which is ironic because, like I said, they're the ones that opened Pandora's box, and now they're freaking out, going, you know what, maybe this wasn't a good idea after all. And now the Australian government is just getting too much power. It's just power, 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 power. And they're trying to now look at doing even more radical things of censoring people. Like, it's a slippery slope, which is why I don't condone the whole idea of taking anyone off the internet and using ID verification, which is why I was so shocked and taken back by Asmongold's take of defending this whole ID verification and control of internet, because it's like the slippery slope and the scope of this is going down. And the fact that, again, UK has just demonstrated this slope and how fast it's gone downhill, and then Asmongold just comes out and goes, yeah, this is a great idea, let's do this in the US, and it's just like, huh? When was this a good idea? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back a couple of videos. It's basically talking about Asmongold's take on basically the whole censorship war. And he basically, in a roundabout way, says, yes, kids should not be allowed to communicate on the internet. It should be read-only for anyone under the age of 18 in the United States. Now, might I add, and I'm just being a little bit cynical here, I believe the reason why he says read-only is because he doesn't want to lose most of his audience when it comes to viewership. Because, yeah, it would affect the content creators heavily if 18-year-old kids just disappeared off the internet overnight. And I'll go over my numbers to prove a point that this doesn't affect me negatively really at all. If I wanted to be a douchebag, I could say, yeah, get everyone off the age of 18 off the internet. Because you want to know my audience percentage numbers? Only 4.1% of people that watch me are under the age of 18. I think it's actually under the age of 17. It's 17 and under is 4.1%. So it doesn't negatively impact me, but I'm just being honest. I think people like Asmongold would be most negatively impacted because I do think most of his fans are probably much more younger. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he can show the numbers, but I just don't approve of this whole idea of pushing this idea of censorship and ID verification, because as someone that did cybersecurity courses through my campuses, one of the things that we always get taught is the best way to protect yourself from issues on the internet is to not give up your ID, to not give away your personal information. And now we're being told, hey, let's give away our personal information to these third-party websites that totally won't lose their data. I've had people ask me to talk about the T-App drama, which is a website where women go to dox men and then all their data got doxed. Like, this is an emphasis on why giving personal ID is a bad idea. And now they're saying, the government's saying, give away your ID. And Asmongold's coming out saying, yes, it's a great idea. What? Like, what clown world are we living in? I just don't understand how we went from, like, stupidity to the next level of stupidity. So it's just blown my mind, and I'm glad, as much as I have criticisms, I'm glad more governments are now, some parties are saying, hey, this ain't a good idea. There's also Japanese parties in the government that are kind of like, this is concerning. So that's also going on. I think we're going to see more uproar as the government tries to grab more control, but it's like, we have to see when elections come up what our options are as far as voting goes, because that is going to be a major factor. Now, the next thing as well is Apple withdraws its data protection tool after the UK government's security dispute. Earlier this month, the UK government requested access to data which even Apple cannot currently view. And this is what I mean. This is why I'm saying ID verification is not a good idea on the internet when you have governments already beforehand trying to grab information. That's why I'm just baffled by why people are saying, yes, give away our ID verification on the internet is a great idea. Oh, but it's only a third party. And you don't think the government is not going to try and get that information from them? Are you seriously got that much? I mean, look at the whole situation when the past government was in power in the US and the sort of the witch hunting they went on when it came to anyone that didn't agree with them. That was a very, very, very slippery slope. So then the next part I want to get to is, of course, with the whole situation going on, we've all been saying how we need to ring up Visa and MasterCard and complain to them. Well, some people have come out and allegedly, there's no concrete evidence of this so far, but to be honest, this was something I knew was going to inevitably happen. But yeah, Visa and MasterCard are getting overwhelmed by Game of Fury over censorship, which, yeah, we knew this was happening. But I just wanted to start that off because there are people that are saying, I wish this was a joke, but I got called today by a Visa rep. I think I just happened to be a call that pushed the woman over, lodged 2 formal complaints after that, and spun circles on the 2 calls, and was about 25 minutes in, and I couldn't get a supervisor either, they just hung up the phone. This was something I figured would inevitably happen, where Visa, well, different reps and all that through these groups would start lashing out and because they just, one, Visa and MasterCard reps don't understand the implications of what is going on, and to be honest, they're probably just being told a bunch of BS from their higher-ups, and that's the thing. Probably people working there either A, are ignorant of the situation, B, are overwhelmed, which still we need to continue doing because this is exactly where they're going to end up saying, hey, maybe we need to actually stop doing this. But now that some of the government officials are now supporting this, it's going to be harder and harder and harder. It's going to be a vicious war. But it demonstrates that also some of the people that work there are just misinformed. They just love throwing around. I mean, I love the way that they use that word. It's like, yeah, it really shows. And I can tell you right now, it'd probably be higher-ups brainwashing them, saying, oh, yes, this is what these people are defending. Making their own rubbish up. So I bet you this is higher-up executives. Again, this is just speculation, but based on how a lot of companies work, it'd be the higher-ups telling the lower-down people this is what they're ringing for, and then the others getting fed up and going, well, let's just start name-calling them. Don't put up with it. Continue fighting back. Which then leads into this. Certain politician. Secretary of State for Science. Yeah, because we really need a Secretary of Science when there's nothing science that you people ever follow. If you want to overturn the online safety, you are on the side of predators. It is as simple as that. The irony in this statement, by the way, the level of irony is so thick. When right now they are using the Online Safety Act as a way to create a police state, to create a police force, to knock on people's doors, to then say you can't say anything bad about certain groups because it's racist or horrible or all these other words that they slander, and say you can't criticize them when they're doing things that align with this word. So it really demonstrates this individual does not care about children. They are simply weaponizing these laws to make others feel bad. And this is exactly what the mainstream media is going to do. This is exactly what the governments are going to do that support this. This is exactly what uninformed idiots are going to start doing. Is they're going to start weaponizing these words against us because they're going to say, well, you're supporting these bad things because you're against censorship and dictatorship. It's like, that's how they're going to spin it. Because they're trying to paint themselves as heroes, the virtual signaling. This isn't the first time we've seen this kind of stuff with previous things that have gone over the years. Which is, like I said, why I was so taken aback by certain content creators like Asmongold, who is defending these types of systems being implemented when we've literally just gone through several iterations of issues where government exploitation, corporation exploitation, and witch hunts and doxing systems going on. And then the Apple Tea drama, or the tea app drama. I say Apple Tea, but tea Apple drama. It's like people are just either really ignorant or just deliberately being stupid. So yeah, it's good to see community notes absolutely cook this person. And the fact is also, I forget about the fact that Wikipedia also fought back against this because they want to be able to control what goes on Wikipedia. Yes, we really should listen to the government when it comes to presenting information, right? Because the government never lies. Like I said, I don't care what side of politics you're on, left or right, but the reality is there are a lot of bad actors in a lot of different positions of power that are trying to do this, and we need to call it all out. Don't be loyal to a certain group. We all need to rally together to call out, because this is no longer about left or right versus right. No, this is us versus them. This is us versus the individuals that want to control and censor and stop people. And like I said in my last video, as much as I get death threats from kids under the age of 18 and all that, I still will defend their right to use the internet, to have access to it. Because I don't think every kid is bad on the internet. It's always the squeaky wheel that gets the grease kind of thing. There are a lot of adults as well. And maybe, just a little bit of fun little jab here, maybe those that are defending censorship should be censored themselves. Not saying really they should. It's more of a tongue-in-cheek, bit of a sarcastic joke there, because I'm just kind of pointing out that maybe those that are defending these kinds of censorship systems, like Asmongold, maybe should have their right to speak removed. Just saying. Not that I actually want that, but I'm just saying, you know, they wouldn't like it. That's why I'm saying it. Because they'll be very quick to say, oh, but that's my freedom of speech. Yeah. Your freedom of speech is what you want to protect, but not everyone else's. I know this one's going to get a little bit more heavy-handed because I know some people do not like when I criticize the great and overlords out there. But again, it needs to be said. Facts, reality, common sense, hypocrisies need to be pointed out. Because this is no longer a game of, like, let's tittle-tattle around people's feelings. This is just getting stupid at this point. So again, love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.